Beyond Barriers, a podcast sharing heartfelt stories of tears, triumphs, and resilience in the world of parenting and supporting people with a disability. Join us as we go beyond barriers to celebrate the joys and navigate the hardships together.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to episode 4 of Beyond Barriers, the podcast. To intro us off for this episode, we sort of wanted to touch base with our audience and kind of find out a little bit about what you guys want to hear from us and some future episodes that you guys might be expecting. So I'll let Aiden take us away.
Yeah, so we're going to put in on our story on Our Choice Disability and Beyond Barriers, the podcast, we're going to put a little question box and all of you guys can ask us questions, or you can send us an email if you don't have Instagram at info@ourchoice.com.au and ask us any questions regarding support work, any questions you've got for us regarding the company, any questions you've got regarding podcasting, what we do, and let us know thoughts or anything you would like for us to talk about on here.
We'd also love to hear some honest feedback from you guys as well. If you guys are enjoying what kind of content we've been dropping in the podcast, if there's anything specific you want to hear from us. Obviously, we try to be as raw as possible, but we can definitely get deeper for you guys depending on what you're after. Yeah,
we'd love to cater for you guys. And if you guys are enjoying listening to it or not so much, just let us know and we can help you out.
Thumbs up or down.
Thumbs up or down.
But just leading into our episode that we have coming up, so we have Tayla. She's one of our support workers. We do plan to get support workers on throughout the journey as well, but we thought we'd start off with Tay. So Tay actually has a brother with a disability as well. She's one of 6 kids or 7?
No, she's six siblings.
So she's one of 7.
Yeah, one of 7.
Yeah, so she's got a really interesting story and she's going to give a little bit of insight on what it's like to be a support worker at Our Choice.
I know. She's been with us for a full year and we love having Tay on board. She's a strong-minded individual and also an athlete as well. So to have someone with diversity and a great story, it's sure to be a good listen.
Yeah, so we hope you guys enjoy and be sure to leave questions for us. And we're back with episode 4 of Beyond Barriers, the podcast.
Yeah, I know. We've got Tayla. We've got Tayla here who works for Our Choice currently and is also a part of the NRLW Dragon squad. We're just going to deep dive into how she juggles being a support worker as well as being an athlete. We're very proud to not only have her in the studio, but have her a part of Our Choice. She's a big part of the company. She's been working there for a whole year. And as we've always touched base on, it's not easy to find loyalty within a company and also a friend. So we're very happy to have you in the studio. Welcome.
Thanks guys for having me.
Thanks for coming. So obviously today we're going to deep dive a little bit into support work and why you like working at Our Choice and also about your brother. So your brother has a disability. Mm-hmm. So we'll ask some questions around that and let's just get started. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, age, why you wanted to start support work?
Well, I'm 21 and I came from Redcliffe, Queensland, but I was born in North Epping, so I'm a Blues supporter. And so I decided to do support work because my brother, he's got autism level 2, he's got an intellectual disability, pathological avoidance disorder, and dyspraxia of speech and ADHD. And I think living with someone with a disability, I've always had that like extra advantage when dealing with kids with additional needs. So it was definitely something I was interested in doing.
Nice. So pretty much like my first question for you is, and I've always been very interested in your story, like you're very likable character and you're very, very energetic. So I've always got along really well with you, but I've always also been interested in everything that you've always ever told me. So pretty much I just wanted to ask, like, how do you balance your work life along with like trying to fulfill your dream of also playing in the NRLW?
Well, it's only been easy to like deal with because you guys have been really like helping me out with like my shifts and like giving me days where like I can train and work and like adjusting everything for me, so it's made things a bit easier for me. But it's in the off season, like it's hard, like having a big day with like a client and then having to drive back to Cronulla or something and then try and get a gym session in when I'm like mentally like don't want to do it. Like I would rather just lay in bed, which is like obviously hard because you got to still do it. Mm-hmm. But like at the same time, it's just like, it's like a massive workload.
Yeah, it's not easy being
it's
an
like
athlete.
going to work after work.
Yeah, seriously. And like, being a female athlete, like you can't just have your sights set on, okay, I want to be a footy player because it doesn't work like that at the moment. And that's obviously a goal down the track for all women playing sport. But yeah, like the way that you manage it seems to be not too bad. Do you get sore the next day or like?
Yeah, some days like I wake up and I'm just like, oh, like if I have like chins the next day and I've got to like fully like get the wheelchair in the car and out of the car and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, your
this
body's
is-
pretty sore.
Yeah, I'm so over it.
And then also, if you find that you have a big day at training, obviously support work can be mentally taxing.
Oh yeah.
Which you'd know more than anyone. So how do you go about like keeping your mental health, I guess, sharp, and then also the physical strain if you have someone that can't move around as well as other kids can?
Yeah, well, like I think this year's also like a good example. Like I haven't had a good year with footy and like showing up to work the next day. I think obviously you would think it would be like tiring, but honestly it's kind of like a mental relief. Like I love doing this job and it kind of takes away the footy side of things and I don't have to think about it as much. Like despite like being sore and stuff, like it's just all like mentally drained. It kind of like, yeah, takes it away from it because like it's, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
I get
gotcha.
You know what I mean?
But like, do you like? Let's deep dive a little bit more into about yourself. So what do you like to do outside of work? Because I only know you through work, and I know that you love your footy. So what else do you like doing? What is your other hobbies, interests?
Oh my God,
What do you get? I know you kind of been put on the spot here,
I'm
but
kind of boring. Like I literally just work and do footy and then like
that's a dedicated support worker right there.
that's literally
That's
all
someone
I
you want on
do.
board.
I don't really do much else. Like I might go to the beach because I live near the beach, or I don't really have any other hobbies, but I probably should.
Yeah. Well, back on the footy thing. This is probably good for other females that are listening that are wanting to get into it. How did that all begin? Like, what made you want to do it?
Well, I started off with like obviously like netball, Oztag, touch. One of my uncles was like, come play. Oh no, I found a team in local like Redcliffe area called Taiwhanaki Sevens. So I was a rugby sevens player at first. And then I got asked by UQ, University of Queensland, to play for them when I was in like year 10. And then eventually my uncle was like, oh, like, do you want to come play a game of footy, like a league game? And I came and I was the only try scorer and we lost by like 40 that game. And I was just like, felt good. Feels good scoring tries. I love it. And and so after that, I kind of played footy and sevens. Like I trained every day because like it was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday was sevens, Tuesday, Thursday, rugby league, Saturday, rugby league, Sunday, sevens. And it was just like massive. And then I moved here for Tush Gale for Roosters, made my way to Sharks Tush Gale, worked my way all the way through to Harvey Norman Sharks, where I then got a 2-year contract with the NRLW Dragons. So hasn't been easy, but
Yeah, and you also went through a few injuries. I remember you had your ACL as well. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, I did my ACL last year. I actually got offered my NRLW contract the 5 days before I did it. And because of the whole CBA delays and the whole like RLPA, whatever biz, we weren't actually given the contract, but you can offer the contract and agree to it. But you can't actually put pen to paper. So when I did my knee, they were going to take my contract off me. So I was going to be like, no money, nothing. The RLPA fought for me and I got to still like honor my contract and hang around the girls. The NRL paid me that year and then Dragons paid me.
No, it's good.
But yeah.
So like, obviously footy's it's so tough to crack, and like even in the women's game now, it's just so like it's getting very competitive. So for you to still be there and like fought your way back, that's pretty impressive as well. So no, that's good.
And Tay, when did you start support work?
Well,
Was it with us?
Yeah, you guys are my first like actual company. Like I wouldn't count like obviously looking after my brother as like a job. Like that's just like, being an older sibling. But yeah, this is my first like.
Yeah, and you touch on your siblings there. I know you have, how many sisters do you have?
I've got 2 younger sisters and
Brothers?
4 younger brothers.
4, so you got 6 siblings.
6 siblings.
So yeah, you got 6 siblings and you've got a younger brother who's got a disability who will be coming on our camp, which I'm
God.
so excited for.
So good.
I'm so keen for you guys to meet him. He's a bit of a punish, but like I can't
We'll love
lie.
Exactly like his sister.
Well, that's where he gets it from. So
No, that's good. So tell us a little bit about your brother and what it was like growing up as a sibling and having a brother with a disability. Like obviously we see, the brothers and sisters who have, brothers or sisters with disabilities. and we see how they cope, but we don't really get too much of an insight. But having you as one of our friends and who's willing to open up about it, tell us really about what it is like.
Well, it's obviously not easy. When Cooper was born, obviously he was not, wouldn't say normal, but like there wasn't really a big issue. And as he got older and my little sister got older, he began to become really difficult. And it was really hard because obviously a lot of the attention was on him. And like even now when I try and call my mum, like you can hear her trying to sort him out in the background. He's doing something he shouldn't be. He's annoying Amaya, or like it's hard. Like it was hard. Obviously my mum did her best. Like there was a point where mum was a single mum of 4 and Cooper was becoming like older and like a lot of the attention had to go to him. Yeah. Like there's one parent in the house and, like we obviously helped mum a lot with him, but got to the point where it was really hard to live with him. That was maybe one of the main reasons I moved out when I was 17 to come to Sydney, but it was like it played a part because like it was just really hard. Not only having like been in a big family, but he's one kid, but he's like he's a lot more than that.
Yeah. What were certain like behaviors he would have?
So it would be ranging anything from like having like outbursts and purposely trying to annoy like my little sister Amaya. He obviously has a few behavior issues.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah. Is it more so like obviously, as we know, like our clients that have disabilities, they require a lot of attention and they need a lot of help, and that's why we have support. Does he have a support worker at home?
Hasn't really worked out. I think so when I would go back and visit, I would support him, and mum just kind of just does it. I mean, he hasn't had like the best. Like this is the first camp he's gonna have like mum's not gonna be there. Like she kind of only trusts me because like I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
But after watching everything we've done and she like follows the pages, like I think she commented the other day and I told her to take it down because I was like, okay, no one cares, mum. Because she was like, oh, like did you tell them that your uncle owns the icebergs or whatever? And I was like, mum, no one gives. No one cares. Can you delete your comment?
I care.
No, I texted you straight away. And you're like, bro,
it's fine.
But Cooper hasn't had the best life, and it's kind of good that he doesn't realize that much. I mean, there was an incident at school where one of the teachers physically assaulted him.
Oh wow.
She eventually got fired, but it took the department a long time to like do something about it. And there was also another incident at school which breaks my heart. He obviously struggles making friends. He is quite, I wouldn't say annoying, but like he's a lot. Like he's a handful. Sorry. And a kid rocked up to school with a knife because he wanted to be this kid's friend. And this kid didn't want to be friends with Cooper because again, like he can be a handful. So he brought a knife to school because he didn't want to be friends with Cooper. Oh. And it breaks my heart because my mum texted me the other day and said that he actually asked mum, like, why am I like this? Why am I special? Like, why aren't my siblings special? And I think that would be hard being one of 7 kids and being the only one with that's a disability. And I never thought that he actually realized he had a disability. And normally he would cry if someone was making fun of him or being mean to him and then forget it the next day. But it's kind of sad to hear that he actually realizes the stuff that's going on around him.
Yeah, that's horrible. Like I think with, a lot of our participants wouldn't even know that they're, in a sense different to anyone else. But that's another thing. Like if you do like, why can't I make friends and why are people not wanting to hang around me? Like that would be so hard. And especially for you as a sibling and your mum, like having to hear that and see that as well. Like that's very taxing on you guys as well.
And it's good to like get that insight as well because now that like you've told me that and Indy that and made us aware, like it'll be really cool to see him at camp because it'll bring him that sense of like, there are some kids who are exactly like him, so full on, which and he'll feel that sense of normalization and he'll feel really included.
That's what I'm excited
I think
for,
that's what I'm excited for him about. So just to have him there and hopefully, as I said to your mum on the phone the other day, like I said, like we don't work miracles here, but like if we can send him home with a smile or a great experience, that would be so cool. So to have your brother being able to do that too, that's something like I'm like, you still pinch yourself like, holy shit, like, it's someone's family member that we're also impacting now, as well as just participants we have on board, which is super cool. So that'll be awesome.
So good.
On the next question, obviously you've touched on a few family hardships and obviously what your brother has to go through, but just on a personal level, so that people out there can get to know you a little bit. Have you had any hardships growing up, or any tough stories that anything you've gone through?
Yeah, like me. I'm so sorry.
Clear the throat.
Are you tearing up?
Bro, no, I'm not tearing
I know, I
up.
always
but
make sure you
my
don't
mouth
cry.
has gone dry all of a sudden. I'm struggling. But hold on.
Quick water break.
Quick water.
Pepsi Max break.
Sponsored by Pepsi Max.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my childhood wasn't that easy, and I would say my siblings probably wasn't easy either, but being the eldest, probably I copped a lot. And I don't want to trauma dump too much. Oh my god.
No, you're allowed to.
Normally I'm
In a
like just
sanctum.
staunch, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Well,
Taylor's pretty tough.
She is.
well, obviously growing up, I didn't have my dad around. He went missing. I couldn't tell you ages. He went missing one day, and we like were wondering where he was. One day he was actually working on the one half of my school, and we just spotted him, and we're like, oh, like, okay. He kept coming in and back to the point where we found out he actually rocked up, and he's like, oh, like, I'm going to jail. So my dad was in and out of jail for a few reasons. I think he's out now. I don't really speak to him anymore. So that obviously was tough. My brothers, so we're a pretty blended family. So me and my sister have the same dad. My two brothers have their dad, who was my stepdad at one point, and then two of my brothers are actually my stepbrothers, but we've been together for like 9 years. So I would call them my brothers. And then we've got a little sister who's my stepdad and mum's kid. And I think obviously it's hard sometimes watching my little sister have two parents in the same household, because obviously I never got to experience that. I think when I grew up, I thought that it was normal to have a parent at one house and a parent at the other, and have a bag and carry your clothes over to your dad's house and stuff. Same with my brothers. Their dad, he works in the mines, but he basically just started his own family. He doesn't really see my brothers, but yeah. So me and my sister don't see our dad. I think, yeah, that plays a part in someone's life, but like it doesn't really like bother me that much anymore, because it's just like
I think that's a pretty incredible story. Like everyone has a different story, but like not many can relate to situations like yourself. So thank you for sharing that with us. That's quite insightful, because like I said, these podcasts are not only just for like, to tell your story, but I gain a good insight of like people I work with, people who, are obviously like my employees. Like it's quite cool. So I get to learn a bit more about you, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And touching on or I guess moving away and coming to work with us, we actually had a conversation the other day about starting at Our Choice, and then you were like, oh, I don't know why, but like I was so scared to like message, and I just wish I like said something sooner that I wanted to work. So can you tell us a little bit about like what made you want to start with us, and how your experience has been so far?
Loki got FOMO, and I wasn't even working for you guys, so I was just like, and I was on the back end of my ACL injury, and I had no job. I was working at a warehouse before I moved to Cronulla, but I was like, stuff that. Found a recycling plant job, which was just, it's like full on hard labor. I did not like it at all. And then I just texted Aiden one day, and I was just like, told him a bit about myself, and he straight away gave me a shift on that Saturday, I think, and he dropped off some t-shirts, and yeah, it just, I feel like I fit in straight away. Like I haven't really looked back since, obviously, but I'm still
like
here.
I can vouch for that. Like you are probably one of our like most requested support workers from parents, which is quite nice. But it's like nice to have someone on board who, one, is passionate about it, two, obviously has life experience, and that's the biggest thing. Like, you want someone who's passionate, and yeah, all the parents just love you. They love how they're always
can I have the girl with the red hair?
Can I have Taylor? Can I have the girl? Can I have the ranger? Like, but no, like, yeah, no, it's good. It's good to have someone who's like, so wanting to be involved. Like, even last camp, like, you know, you had some stuff on, you had your footy, but you still voluntarily like said, nah, I'll come up when I can and drive down and drive back and drive down and drive back. So it's good to have someone who just, like, you got to take your hat off to people like that who just want to be there just because, not just,
Thanks, guys.
you know, not just because of the money or anything like that. So no, that's really good.
Yeah.
But
And
Yeah,
what's
100%.
been, since you've started, like, what do you love about work? Like, other than the kids, like culture wise, like, what do you think about the company?
Well, obviously, like, this job, it's more than just a job to me. Like,
Yeah.
like, I don't do it to make money. Like, it's really like fulfilling, and I think not only the participants, but like obviously like you guys, like my workmates, everyone. Like, I met my partner here. Shout out Jara.
there you go.
Shout out Zara.
But like, I've made mates. Like, it's been hard, like, moving around Sydney. Like, I was living in Liverpool, and then I moved to Cronulla, and then now I've got like mates like Malaya and like everything now. And then yeah, so it's not just like obviously a job to me. This is like I wouldn't say
It's
my
like a little-
life, but like it's like more
It
than a
does.
job.
It kind of does integrate into your life.
Yeah.
It does. I totally agree. Because when I was in your position as a support worker, I used to get into jobs and like I used to get there and be like, oh my God, like I'd never make this my whole life. Like I need to kind of be like, okay, I got footy here, got my work life here, I got my family here, like, and just try and separate it. But then ever since like being at Our Choice, I've always wanted to keep that mindset, and I can't. Like I'm like, okay, this is my whole lifestyle. All my friends here, like my partner's here,
Yeah.
like all the kids that I
Your
love is
partner's
here.
families all
My
everywhere.
partner's
Yeah, oh
family's
my God.
working here. Like it's just, it is my whole life. And like,
Yeah.
you probably can relate to the same. And I've always said this, dinner table chats about Our Choice.
Oh,
Like
always.
breakfast chats about Our Choice. It's like, oh my God.
But they
So-
always tell you when you play footy, you should have a plan B, and I think this is like the best plan B to have. Like,
yeah. And
to
I'm
fall
happy,
back on.
I'm happy you brought that up because that was actually what I was going to ask you next. So obviously like that's what you're doing at the moment and you want to be an NRLW player. That's probably your main goal. And then your plan B would be working as a disability support worker. But what are your future, this is a pretty full on question, but what is your future goals? Like what do you see yourself being? Like you're Tayla Curtis at the moment, but what do you see yourself in 5 years?
This is tough because like I haven't had the greatest year footy wise, and it's really like put me in a point where I'm like I can't even see what's going to happen in the future. But ideally what I want is like obviously I want to still play NRLW. Hopefully I'm up there, high up there. Hopefully I'm one of the best second rowers in the game, but we'll see.
That would be good.
Yeah, it would be good. I don't hope so. Yeah, hopefully. But also being able to balance life, like balance, hopefully it becomes full time, but also being able to still do this part time and, you know, like giving my energy not just into footy, but into like this space as well.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think you're made for this. Like, it's funny when people fall into this career path and you're like, oh my God, like they're made for it. Like Aiden's made for it. You're made for it. Like you've just got that personality and like, I guess the strength as well. Like you're both very strong-minded and strong. Like you've both been through a bit. So it shows when you work with the kids because it's hard. Like it can be so hard. Like I remember my first shift, I had like one of the little ones. Can we say names?
Yeah, you can say
I had
names.
little Cardi.
Yeah, I wonder if we were able
Everyone
to
knows
say
Cardi.
names.
Yeah, you can say
I
names.
don't forget it. Yeah, and
All
I
the
had
parents
little,
are listening.
Yeah, I had little Cardi, God love him, and this is when so since we first had Carter, he was horrible with redirections. So if he thought we're going to the
This
beach,
was before the wheelchair,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, before we were going to the pool, he like could not. And I would do as best I can to like limit redirecting. But I don't think obviously I didn't know how bad it was because of my first shift with him. Anyway, so I walked him to the icebergs and Aiden could just hear him screaming and he was like biting and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, help. So Aiden ran up. I had to go in the bathroom and just like have a little cry because I felt horrible that I had redirected him, number one. And then I just was like, oh my God. Like, and then even from that moment to where I am now, like that would never bother me. Like it's just part of the job. But when you first start, it's so hard. Did you ever have a moment like that? Like when you first started with moments and you're like, oh my God.
I think that one time he's not with us anymore. I went home and you called me afterwards and asked if I was okay. And I literally just finished up crying because it was just like, it was a bit disappointing to hear that like a participant wasn't happy with my, you know, support. Like, and I feel like I put 100% and it's like I said, it's more than a job to me. And like I put like my own money, my own time in, and it was a bit disappointing that someone felt like that. And obviously meltdowns aren't the greatest, and like, but I feel like that was like a good lesson. Like,
yeah, and that's a good insight. Like, you know, you can hear this firsthand, like for all the people listening to this episode, that like I will always vouch for this, that I know my support workers really try so hard, and like, you know, sometimes it does suck when, you know, when people think like, oh, you're not doing your best, when you might just had a shit day, or you know, it could just be a little bit of like a disagreement or something like that, and you know, you straight away get like, you know, told that you're not doing the best job, you know what I mean? So when you know in yourself that you are, and I feel like we all really try our best to do our best work as often as possible, and you know, it's quite easy to make a mistake or slip up, but you know, we all put our best foot forward, you know.
I think it's good insight for like other support workers that might be listening, or, you know, maybe parents, or, you know, anyone listening, to know that like it's not, although it looks like super fun, and that's what we always say, it looks fun and all that, and it is. Like most of the time we have the best time, and like when behaviors or incidents happen, they're a very limited part of your day. Like you're still, you know, all of our staff are really good at managing incidents and managing behaviors now. And like we do that through buddy shifts, and obviously Aiden's so accessible to call. But yeah, like it is challenging. It's so challenging, and like the emotional toll it has, especially like I'm a sensitive person, so I can understand where you're coming from when you feel like someone's not happy with, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that. But yeah, like it's nice to have insight from you as well, because you know better than anyone that it's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Oh yeah,
and it's such an emotional job. Like you put like, well, we all do, but like especially someone like yourself who's very like strong-willed, you put a lot of emotion into it. You know what? You treat them exactly like your brother. You know what I mean? Like you're like, hey, like you remind me so much of my brother. You're like my little brother. I'm going to treat you like that. And you know, it doesn't always work out the best, but like you just are so strong-willed and so invested into it, so it can come off as emotional, and like it definitely, you know, is emotional. I have no other word for that other than it is an emotional job.
It is.
Yeah,
it takes a toll on you, especially if like those things happen, because it's, again, like you said, it's not always like sunshine and rainbows and stuff. And
I think it's nice to have a space that, you know, we are allowed to talk about this stuff, and it's good for other like new support workers that might be feeling like they might be having a few harder days than happy days. But once you get the hang of it, and you know, you can relate and you get to know your participant more, I find that getting to know your participant more helps better, because you can understand how they work. But those first initial shifts do you find tricky, like when you have someone new?
Because you got to like learn like everything. You got to know like boundaries and all that stuff. If that, like, sometimes I even talk to their parents before or after, just to like get to know them a bit more. But obviously the first shift is like hit or miss. Like, you never
they
know.
either love you or they don't.
And they don't, and that's so true. Like even when we spoke to like some parents, some of them like love more than others, but it's just a feeling you get. Like everyone's going to gravitate towards every single person.
Well, like I'm not going to, like, you know, even as much as like, you know, I will always go and put my best foot forward with every single participant. Like I might not be some kid's cup of tea, you know what I mean? I might come in there and be like, and they're like, hey, well, too much, you know? Whereas like Tayla might come in with a bit of a softer approach, but firm approach. That might be a bit better. Or you might come in with the whole like nurturing. Hi, how are you?
I think,
Tayla's like,
No.
But some parents love that, you know?
That is
Everyone loves different things. But then, you know, obviously once you find your participant, and you'd know this better than anyone, and then when you start like tracking their progress, and then seeing little changes and little wins, how rewarding is that for you?
Oh, those are the best. Every time like we like all meet up like on a Thursday or Saturday, and we get to talk about like the little things that we've noticed within our like participants and stuff. I think that's like the best thing. Like it's like really rewarding, you know, that you've made an impact on someone's life.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, again, like I'm excited for Cooper to come to camp, because I want like what we do for these participants, I want for my brother.
Yeah. And that was really nice. Like even when you said to me the other day, you're like, oh, like I want Cooper to come to camp, because like I'll be like doing my thing around him, and like hopefully that can impact him some way or another, you know. And we've also got some of our other male support workers who are exactly like me, who will be the same to him, and he might grow a little friendship and, you know, talk about Aiden at camp, or he might be talking about Jet at camp, or Youre did this or Youre did that, and just find funny things that he'll he'll think of could be forever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids who like leave camps and still talk about it, but they don't come, but they still
Yeah.
talk about what happened on my first camp 2 years ago,
Yeah.
you know. So that'll be
Yeah.
cool.
And Tay, you know, when we speak about like we may have a few young support workers that are just starting out, can you give them any advice from what you've learned so far in the job?
Oh, I guess just like I couldn't tell you. It's kind of like you just got to learn as you go, I guess. Just
Yeah.
don't like go in thinking that it's going to be like you said, sunshine and rainbows. Just be really like I don't know.
Be open-minded.
I feel like everyone has a different way of going about starting to be a support worker. I feel like we've all had our different you know, obstacles and stuff. So it's just like, yeah, I guess just like don't take it to like, you know what I mean, to heart. Like if you go through any of those obstacles, like just keep bouncing on, like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
That's
was
a
good
good way
or
of
not.
putting
That does make sense. Like everyone has different reasons and purposes for wanting to do support work, you know. So like you come into the job obviously having the background of your brother and watching the stories, and you're like, oh my God, that looks fun. Someone else might come into it because they want to get into nursing, and that might be a little nice pathway to get in there, or any little thing like that. So that's so right. Just be open-minded and
exactly.
There's the same amount of bad days there is good days, but the good days are so much more.
Yeah,
worth it.
exactly.
And I think what you said, like, and Aiden always reminds me of this, but like, don't take everything so personal. Like sometimes I'll feel like really guilty if I feel like, oh, maybe they didn't have the best day, and I'll like really, that'll hit me hard.
Yeah. Well, I had Jason once, and he goes like about taking it personal. He goes, "You're so ugly, and you're always gonna be ugly." One morning shift, like I've rocked up in my PJs because bro, those 7 to 10 shifts, I literally rock up in my PJs and slippers, and he goes, I've like told him to get up and get ready for school because it's time to go, and he's like, "You're ugly, and you're always gonna be ugly." And I tried not to take it to heart, but.
I love it.
But you went home in the mirror and went, yeah.
I like looked at myself for a second just to see if he was right.
It's so
I was
humbling.
like,
hey, some of the things they say, I'm like, oh God, I love you.
I know.
You humble me.
You got to give it to the kid, like especially the kids, the younger kid. They are humbling.
oh,
We can all
oh
relate with
my
that.
God.
Oh,
They're the worst. Oh,
It's
no,
not
they're
like-
not the worst, but like
they're the worst
some of
with
the things they say are the
their
worst.
comments, because they watch so much YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they're so ruthless on that app. So like, I'll take my shirt off once. I'll be like, yeah, I just went to the gym, whatever. And some kid will say, yeah, you look a bit fat today, or like you put on a bit of weight. I said, sweet, no worries.
Oh my God.
Thank you. But I probably have about 2 more questions, and then
Okay.
then you're free to go.
Slay.
Your shift's over.
Yeah, shit.
But probably on a happier note and a lightened note, what do you have a experience or time that really stands out to you that you're like, oh, that was my favorite day, or that was like the best moment I've had at Our Choice?
Oh my God.
I know you've been put on the spot here, but I
That's
just
hard.
want to.
These questions are so hard, but they're probably not. I'm just.
I like it to be a bit raw, bit like, you know, tell me
I
exactly
don't
what
know.
you
I think
of.
there's been so many great moments that I've experienced, and like I love to document them on my Instagram and like all that stuff. I don't know. God, I think like maybe watching. There could be like heaps of moments like watching Jordan go to school. That I think that's something that I really love. And he goes there longer than he went from like 1 hour to 2 hours, 3 hours. And it's really good because he never went to school before. And then maybe even like Hunter, like watching his like skills, like just like get better every time I get him. Like I think Louis also plays a massive part in that as well. And I really love working with Hunter. I think yeah, I don't know. Those are probably like some examples, but there's too many. There's so
Yeah.
many.
It's so hard to
It
pinpoint.
outweighs all the bad moments for
Yeah.
sure. Those
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
No, that's good. And then last little thing for
Aiden's
you.
favorite question.
My
Are you
favorite
gonna ask me a
part,
quote?
but you can ask it. I'll let
Please.
Indy ask it this time.
Tay, what is a quote that you live by?
I was trying to think of one last night because I was just like, I knew you guys want to ask me this.
He loves this question. I always say, like, let them just say advice. He goes, no, it has to be a quote.
Well, I'm a massive quote person.
Yeah.
Like whenever I want advice, I want it to be like, I want it to be like a quote where I can like be like, okay, that makes sense, or like a little like analogy. I love analogies.
Yeah, you
like I'm an analogy person. So
know.
hearing other people's quotes kind of makes me
Oh,
Hit
God.
us.
hit us.
Okay, I think this
Make
one
me
is
tear
that
up.
I'm told a lot, and I think you could take it how you want, like footy, work. I don't even know how it go, like if it's like a quote, but it's like you can only control what's like controllable, you know, like you can only control the things that you can control. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what
we
you mean.
love
Why are
that
you smiling
quote.
at me like that then?
Because
Thank
I really
you.
like that.
We always say that. We always say,
I'm told that a lot because
Yeah.
I've had such a rough year, and it's just like you can't like focus on the things you can't control.
Exactly.
And it's true though. Like you really can't. It's not going to change anything.
nah, I
So,
love
yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, and that's so true. And it's like sometimes when people like obviously reach out to me, especially being like a boss or like like a mentor to people, and like people like yourself, like I would obviously I think I've said that to you sometimes, like you can't control that. That's okay. Like and do your best with what you can control and make something of that. You know,
100%.
and like even with your footy and at work, like you know if you've been dealt these cards and you're not playing for certain reasons and you're not getting a fair crack, or you don't feel it's just or right, like can you control that? Not really, but what you've been given at the moment, just control that and do what's best with you for that.
Yeah,
so
100%.
no, that's good.
Can I just give a little shout out to Cooper, Carter's brother, and oh my god, I forgot Hunter's sister's name, but I want to give a shout out to her as well because obviously they are very big helpers in their lives. Like I just want to give them a little shout out. I don't know if anyone else who's got, but those are the ones that I know so far. So I want to give them a little shout out for being the best siblings. And obviously it's hard having a sibling with a disability. So, and I think they do really well. Cooper as well. I watch him all the time pull out Cardi in his wheelchair, help his mum out.
So sweet. No, we appreciate that, Tay. And, you know, everyone that listens, I think being a sibling of someone that does have a disability, it's bloody tough. And, you know, it hurts more because you probably see things that they can't see. And it's like, yeah, just the emotional roller coaster with it and, you know, probably hearing people say nasty things or whatever. So, no, they'll really appreciate that little shout out. I know Coop will.
Yeah, Cooper will. He's a big listener, and I think that's another thing. Like you probably matured quite faster than your other siblings, and obviously at your age probably faster than other people at your age because of the things you had to deal with and have gone through. So no, that's really special. So we'll wrap up episode 4, and we just want to say a big thank you to Tayla for coming on. And if you have any questions about support work, or even if you are a sibling of a brother or sister with a disability, like reach out to Tayla, ask any questions, and yeah, we'll catch you for episode 5 next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.